Hey, come with me. Hey, today we're going to talk about rotational power and stability.
Hey guys, today we're going to talk about rotational power and stability. My name's Nolan Bass and I'm a fireman in Indianapolis, and a lot of the time we've got to carry heavy objects on the one side. We've got to take heavy objects, move them across our body, which puts us in that rotational plane.
When we look at rotational training, oftentimes when we look at programming, it's very much linear or lateral. Rotational is almost an afterthought. But if you look at the mechanism of injury, oftentimes it comes through a lack of exposure to rotation.
What can we do to kind of shore up those instabilities and give me a little bit more rotational power?
Yeah, there's a lot of exercises that we can utilize to kind of act as a bridge before you have to pick up that heavy load in a chaotic manner. There's a lot of things that we can do to almost inoculate you for the real world, and that's what we're about to go over. Okay, so first exercise, let's start with a stability lift. Okay, it's a pretty common exercise, but a lot of people fuck this one up. So we're gonna face this way. I want your inside leg back. I want your knee on the ground to start. And notice how I'm on a diving board. Body's really smart, so again, it's gonna try to find a way to solve for that. So you're likely gonna be out here, or another one is people will go toe in. You're on a diving board. So hands are gonna be on the band like so. You're gonna pull across the ribs and press. That's part of the exercise. Across the ribs and press. There we go. Okay, let's start there and then we'll talk about it. Great. So one thing that you're doing really well that I've already seen is this back toe is relaxed. That's perfectly acceptable. Sometimes we'll spike that back toe, so you want to spike that back toe in the turf. Great. That's just another way to do it. And notice how you're keeping good posture. So that's one version. That's it. Have you ever heard of the athlete Tony Nose? You're a fucking liar. Okay? Your toe, your knee, and your nose on a straight line. I made that shit up. Okay? You should be able to pick up that back foot without moving your torso. So can you, yeah, you see how you had to shift your weight. Okay, so you get to a place where you don't have to shift your weight. There you go. Now we're cooking. All right, now go across the ribs and press. Great. All right, do that a few times. Great. So think about what has to happen to the body from a stability standpoint when you're forcing yourself into this box. This first foot is going pointing straight ahead. You're not letting it point in or out. You don't have a wide base. This is a bit more real, but this is just the start. Questions? All right. Okay, let's move on. Okay, great. So what I'm looking for, see if you can get back to that Tony Nose position. Check your back leg. Is that bugging you? Fine? Okay, great. All right, go ahead and pull and press. Okay, hold that shape. Okay, body's really smart, so it's going to get it to a position where, from a physics standpoint, it's easier for the body to execute. That feels a little harder, right? Something to think about, okay? Good angle here. Hold it out there. Now, if the body is generating its own stability from a rotational standpoint, you won't move. Are you ready? I'm going to pull this towards you. Don't move. Yeah, stellar work, dude. Okay, now I'm going to let go. You ready? Great. Okay, now I'm really going to fuck with you. Ready? Here we go. Okay, the reason I like this exercise, this is the exact same thing you do when you run. So although running in a straight line looks linear, there's a lot of rotational force you're accounting for. What if you can't run? Is this close enough? This is a great way to inoculate you for that. Okay, relax. Okay, so we just did a lot of rotational stability work. We need a way to make it real, and that's where rotational power can come in handy. Okay. So we're gonna work on an exercise called the rotational row. It's very straightforward, but even though it is, I see a lot of shit going wrong with it, okay? So you're gonna get a band like so, or maybe you've got a functional trainer or one of those electric motor machines that are coming out now, and you're gonna get into this shape, okay, like so. Notice how my feet are square. This is position 1, this is position 2. Notice how this leg is relatively locked out. My chest is facing this way. Questions? No. All right, let's do it. Okay, go for it, okay? Go ahead and I want your arm to get long a little. Long. Yeah, before you start pulling. There you go, okay? Great. So one thing that Nolan's doing really well is he's letting his right foot stay locked and in a straight line. If you watch his back foot, he's able to push through and he's letting that pelvis rotate. You might find that you yourself at home are struggling with that back leg to actually rotate. You can see the front of his quad facing the camera. Okay? I'd love to see a little more violence. Make it skip. Yes, dude, there you go. Okay? Great. Where I see this often start to go wrong, and this is, you don't have to pull anymore, but if you can assume the position again. Under fatigue, because I'm asking you to explode, this foot is going to start to rotate in a direction of pull. that's fine. It's just every now and then if I'm trying to prioritize control, I want to make sure that I'm checking myself that it stays relatively straight. Something that Nolan's doing very well is his leg, his back leg is relatively straight. I can tell that he's pushing through the ground through his foot. But oftentimes what I'll see people doing is just rotating, and there's no force there. It's very common in baseball, so if you've got a baseball background, you might be doing that, but Nolan's been doing his homework, okay? Okay, rotational lift. Now, this one can be done with single repetitions. It can be done in clusters of 3 all the way up to 6. There's 2 ways to hold it. You can hold it like this, double overhand, like you're riding a mini bike, or holding like a spear, okay? From here, you're pushing off of this leg, going here. That's position 2. So from here, or here. Okay? Great. Now we see, this is interesting, now Nolan, notice how he's not pushing through this side leg as much. You don't see that quad rotate as much, and that's because I'm asking for more complexity. So I'd ask him to see if, yes, beautiful, you feel a difference?
I do.
Beautiful. So you see how the foot's not turning, right? So I want to see your left quad, and this is what I want, this is not what I would ask of you, but I want to see your left quad rotate towards that direction. Yes. Now, it's important to recognize, I said rotate, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is pushing through the ground. Is he actually pushing through his left big toe? If we just ask for rotation, then you'll get rotation, but you'll get no power, okay? And that means less real. All right, next exercise. Let's say you're dealing with shoulder issues or hurts to go overhead like that. Watch how Nolan put that thing on. Nolan, do it again. Nolan's going to walk away from the band. He's going to throw it over his shoulder like he's in Italy, and he's avoiding the pickpockets that are trying to take his Gucci bag, and he's going to turn around, fight him off, and get back to what he was doing, okay? You throw it over your shoulder, you walk away and turn around, away from the strap. I'm trying to take your purse. There we go. It's cutting across his hip. He's going to touch his shoulders like so. You don't have to do that, but when the hands are free, you start doing weird shit with your arms, and you think you're actually going further than you are. Okay, so you're going to load and explode whenever you're ready. Very good. Yes, and you're going to pivot through this side leg. Yes. So Nolan was doing this on the other side, and his ability to push through his right side was actually better than his left. Okay, see if you can do some clusters. The other thing that I'm seeing with Nolan, so I love to see if you can get fast down, fast up. So more like... There you go, dude. And we see how things start to break down when I ask for more force and more violence. Now you see why this could be valuable in your own training, because if you can't do it well here, why the fuck are you going to be able to do it when you need to pick somebody up? Okay? All right, go for it. Yeah, this is good, man. This is good work. Okay, great. All right, so Nolan, out of the exercises that we went over, what stuck out in your mind as like, maybe this is something I want to work on, or this particular part was hard to remember?
So for me, it was the presses where you actually change the tension on the band. That was really helpful for me because I could really feel it in my hips. Couldn't feel it in my back, which is a good thing, but I really like the foot position and how to press through all that. Okay,
I think it's important to recognize that everything I showed you there, you can roughly assimilate, or you see that in the real world, right? They're not weird, hyper-specific exercises that we came up with. So where can people find out more?
So you can go to the Softlete app, get on a team. All this rotational work will be in those teams, and you can get yourself lined out, strong and powerful.